One thing we hear a lot about nowadays, especially from the right, the far right, whatever, is that society is becoming divided, fragmented. There's no common culture. How people aren't integrating. Who wants that? I don't want to integrate. I like to get on with my own life. I sit in front of my computer most of the time. Other people do the same. The guy across the road, he has his wife and they've got a dog and they mind their own business. At the bottom of my road is Venner Road Hall, which there's various church functions there. There's a mosque on Friday. Top of my road there's a Kingdom Hall, Jehovah's Witnesses. I just certainly don't want them coming around and knocking on my door at 9:30 on a Saturday morning. But by and large, people keep themselves to themselves, and that's the way I like it. That's the way it should be. But that doesn't mean that society is fragmented or divided, like that people can't do decent things. I'll give you two examples. One from 1944, absolutely extraordinary, and the other from November 2022, personal experience. In May 1944, Leroy Henry was a black soldier, an American soldier. He was based in the West Country, and at that time there were segregated units. And he had an encounter with a housewife, a woman named Irene Lilly, and she accused him of rape. The bottom line is that this was a commercial arrangement. He offered her £1, she wanted £2. With black rates, I suppose. Anyway, he was arrested. Under military law, rape was capital. He was tried, probably not very fairly, by a military tribunal, convicted and sentenced to death. Then what happened? Well, something quite extraordinary happened in this so racist country. The people of Bristol, Bath, the West Country generally, in the middle of the bloodiest war in history, they circulated a petition, and they actually placed a big advertisement in the local press, the Bath and Wilts Chronicle and Herald, late extra, for June the 5th of that year, appealing for clemency. This actually persuaded Eisenhower to commute, or, well, the sentence was quashed, and Henry was back serving with his unit. The personal incident was, I say, it was in November 2022. I'll put a link to it. I'll put it November 20th, but it was actually November 19th. But I'm not going to alter it now. But I'll give you, there's two links actually. There's a link to an article I wrote early the following month, and contemporaneous report. I was getting ready to go to bed, just going to turn my computer off, and it was about 1:45, early for me. I happened to look out my window, and there's a car, a big black SUV, I think they're called. It was turned over, it was almost completely turned over. And anyway, I went down there. Well, I phoned the police first. I phoned the police ambulance. I went down there, and I can't remember if it's caught fire immediately or not until I got down there. But they caught fire anyway, and there was a big crowd of us. Came from out of nowhere, women holding up their cameras, and the men trying to do something practical. And I thought we could turn it over because, rocking it, but we probably could have done that, but others went for a more direct approach, smashing the glass. Well, this glass was reinforced, and it was very difficult. Eventually we got her out, the driver, just the one person, and by this time it was like something out of a Hollywood film. And we got her out. She was a young black woman, youngish. She was one foot was bare, the other was she was wearing a surgical boot. So I think that had something to do with her being trapped inside the car, because she was wearing a seatbelt, and I think the boot trapped her. Well, anyway, we got her out, dragged her out, and the car, the flames were getting really bad. I thought it was going to explode. It didn't actually, but anyway, dragged her back quite some distance, and she also hit her head or something. She said, "Oh, my car!" She wanted to try to go back there, but actually restrain her physically. Anyway, the police came. So did the fire brigade. Yeah, I think the ambulance. It's amazing how much you forget. Anyway, I think an ambulance came. She was arrested for failing to provide a sample. She lives in Venner Road. I won't give any more details about that. But after that, everybody disappeared. And what struck me about that most was that the bloke who might be called the hero of the night, who did more than anybody, was a young white bloke who, I've said before, I wouldn't invite him into my home. He looked very, very rough, very dodgy, but all of us came together, was, all shades of people. So the dudes doing the work, and the women admiring it. And we all came together and got her out. And then we went on our separate ways. And you see this sort of thing time and time again, mostly less dramatically, when there's been really cold weather in the winter, snow and everything, and homeless. And people come together and help out. They put them up in churches and whatever. Natural disasters. When it's necessary, even if it's something just fairly trivial, like an old person stumbles in the street, so that includes me now. But I've seen that before, an old woman falls over in the street, and people rush to help her. There's no inclusive stuff here, people get on with their own lives, and that's the kind of society I want. I think it's the sort of society most people want. They don't want to be, I don't want to go to a mosque. I certainly don't want to go to church. But when need arises, people come out of the church, come out of the mosque, come out of wherever and help. I mean, really dramatic example was the 7/7 attacks, especially when that bus exploded. A bomb went off on a bus outside the headquarters of the British Medical Association. Doctors and whatever poured out to help. So all this stuff about separation and not integrating and fragmenting society, let it be fragmented. It's pushing people together who have nothing in common, which causes the problems. That more than anything else. You see this so-called migrant crisis. Well, it is a crisis. People resent their communities being invaded by especially hundreds of single men of a certain age who make a pest of themselves, and they're the ones who are blamed. They're called racist or whatever, far right, because they object to hotels actually being occupied while the locals are living in not such great conditions. That's the sort of society we should aspire to. And all this stuff about division, well, let it be divided. I don't want to go to mosque, I don't want to go to church, I certainly don't want to go to a homosexual bathhouse or any sort of left-wing meeting. And people will give me a wide berth, but at the end of the day, people do come together to help when it's needed. And if that is the way society is ordered, if that's the way it works, then so much the better. People should live their own lives and basically mind their own business.